And we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Small Business Runway TV. I'm your host, Gina Mathapelo, and I'm so pleased that you're able to join me today. I was not going to do that live with all of those filters. They all make me look a little bit funky. I don't know what's going on today. But nonetheless, we are back and we are here to serve you yet another episode of Small Business Runway TV. Today, as we do every single Monday, we host a different business leader, a different guest, a different expert, somebody that we think can add value to your journey as a small business owner, as an entrepreneur, somebody that I really feel like we can learn from, that has been through the journey that we as business owners and entrepreneurs aspire to be on. And so, like every Monday, make sure that you are sharing the live with as many people as possible that you think can benefit. Today, we're having, we're talking luxury, talking opulence, we're talking elegance, we're talking really just a fearless female that's doing amazing things in her space. We're talking to Mathapelo Pitse. She is the owner of J'adore d'Amour brand. It is a luxury shoe brand, so I'm excited to have the conversation. And I'm hoping that you will also gain from it. I'm hoping that we can all learn from it. And as usual, please do me a favor. Go ahead and share the live with as many of your friends, your colleagues, anybody that you think can benefit from this conversation. Our goal with these lives is literally to bring you the people that can add not only to your personal development, but also just your business development. So welcome everybody. Also, just let me know where you're joining from so that I can properly greet you. Just let me know if you are in Johannesburg, if you are in South Africa at all. I know that some of our audience are people from outside of South Africa, so it would be interesting to know who's from where. And if you are joining us for the first time, drop me actually a heart emoji so that we can welcome you. And if it is your first time, don't let it be your last time. We do these things every single Monday. We are still obviously in the first season of this, so it's exciting to just be able to welcome new people and welcome new thought leaders to this conversation. Okay, so already we see Tshego from Johannesburg, Soweto. Hi Tshego, how you doing? Oh, and it's your first time, yay! Welcome Tshego, don't let it be your last time. We do these every single day, every single Monday rather. And of course, we've hosted amazing human beings. We've hosted business leaders. We've hosted a lot of our people that we look up to in business. So don't let it be your last. Share with your friends. Tell as many people as possible to come join us. For some reason, I feel like the numbers are slow today, but we are going to get it right, as we always do. So we'll just wait for Instagram to invite a few more people. I've got my hot cup of tea today because the weather allows. So let's get that going. And then, let's get ready. So our guest, as usual, I love this. I love how, all of our guests are always on time. They always literally jump on as the first few people, which is amazing. It means that, we really take our craft seriously. And yeah, it's exciting. Now we know we're here, and we can already start the conversation. Yes. But how's everybody doing? How is everybody doing? It has been a while since we've actually had like a casual, conversation about life, about business, about entrepreneurship, what's going on in your space. Lots of things going on my side. And I'm happy to share with you guys during the course of this week. But for now, obviously our focus is on this live. Somebody's unique business plans. Good evening from Cape Town. Hi, how are you doing? Thank you for joining us. And if it is your first time, don't let it be your last. This is really the place to be. This is really the space that we hold for entrepreneurs and business owners. And for some reason, my laptop will not go on. I'm thinking, what is going on? Why won't my laptop switch on? Okay. Live TV. It is what it is. Okay, so yeah, I think we've done our roll call now. We've done our greetings and our hellos. So let's just welcome our guest now onto the live. And while we everything, well, this laptop, honestly, yeah. So as she's coming onto the live, hi. Ah, woo,
I'm
I
also
love
here
the energy.
trying to find the right filter.
I'm trying, I was trying. I actually gave up because they're all like
I know,
not.
like hi crazy. Okay, there we go. I need to be
Let
pretty. There we
me try
go.
again because I have to step it up now. I have to step it up.
Oh,
Woo! Wabona mara. Okay,
yeah.
you know
How are
what?
you, darling?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I must say I'm very excited about this conversation
Yeah,
because every single Monday I bring on different business leaders. I bring on people that I think will really just add on to the voice of entrepreneurs. People that we
yeah,
can learn from. So I
yeah.
am really surprised, right? Um, that yeah, I mean, we're getting straight into this. And for
Oh
everybody
my
that doesn't
goodness.
yeah. So for everybody that doesn't know, right? Mathapelo is the owner and founder of, I'm gonna say this right, and correct me if I am wrong because I need to get
Okay.
this right. It is J'adore de Amour.
Perfect. You got it right. Yay.
There we go. Yeah,
Yes.
and it's a luxury shoe brand, and I think my interest was sparked by why luxury and opulence. I
Yeah.
know this is a very limiting sort of like belief or limiting thoughts, but
Mm.
you don't ordinarily just think that a South African woman that is black can really just get into the space of like luxury and opulence.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
after reading your profile and just seeing the work you're doing, I'm like, why not actually?
Oh my. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know
So
what?
yeah. So go ahead, Mathapelo, and just tell us, maybe let's start with your background. Give us a little bit of your background. Where does this, sort of entrepreneurial spirit start from? How did
Mhm.
you end up with a luxury shoe brand in SA?
Oh my God. Yeah, so thank you so much for having me to the show and pronouncing the name correctly. It's J'adore Diamo. Yeah, geez, not starting this route of how I applied for the job to be founder and CEO of J'adore Diamo was quite accidental, actually, funny enough. So I'm a girl from the East Rand. I'm from Boxburg, and yeah, grew up in a happy childhood as the only child to two parents that are still alive, and I'm fortunate about that. Did my schooling in the East Rand, and then later on in my high school years, I moved to Joburg, and then afterwards, straight from high school, I started working because I couldn't go to varsity. And I think while growing up, I always knew that I wanted to start a business, but I was, not quite sure what exactly I wanted to go start. But I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And at some point, I wanted to be a restaurateur. So I think I thought I was going to own my own restaurant. And I did try. Trying that rodeo. So J'adore Mo is not my first rodeo in business. Before that, I've had other projects that I've tried out, and I once owned a catering company, which I sold off to a friend of mine because after like probably 3 months of running it, I realized that no, cooking on weekends was not gonna go for me. So I sold it off, and throughout that process, I still knew that I wanted to go into entrepreneurship, but I didn't know. So I remember even before the brand became J'adore Mo, it changed its name. We changed it like the name of the business and the concept of the business twice. So initially, when it started, it was supposed to be a swimsuit brand. And that also later backfired on me. I was like, no, it was known as Bunny Boutique. Then I was like, okay, let's rebrand, let's do it again. And then we were previously known as My Starbucks, and it was supposed to be clothing. And then, with that as well, kind of like backfired on me because I was like, oh no, I don't want to do this. There's so many things to worry about. So initially then one day I had like an aha moment. I always have aha moments on like awkward times. So I then decided, this one time I was with my mother, and were cleaning out my closet because I'm such a shopaholic. I always buy a lot of like online stuff. I'm always buying clothes. So every year I always try to clean out my closet and give away. And I remember at one point we were counting my pairs of shoes I had in my closet, and it was almost like 300 pairs of shoes that I had bought
Oh
over like
my.
a span of a year. And I remember saying to myself, oh my God, I think this is where I want to be, because first of all, I've got an obsession with shoes. I love to buy shoes. I love to wear shoes. My friends love the shoes that I wear. And they're always asking me where I buy my shoes. And at the time, I would always refer my friends to where they should buy my shoes. Where they should buy shoes from, overseas or online. And I was like, well, instead of me actually referring people, how about then I then become the middleman where I source out the shoes and I sell it. And that's how then, My Style Box back then, which is now Jedotia Mall, actually then started, So yeah, until this very day, since 2017, it's been a roller coaster, uphill, downhill, kind of journey to where we are. Started from one pair, and now we have a couple of hundred of pairs in our storage that we managed to sell.
Mathapelo, the guts, and I have to ask this question because a lot of us, we kind of look, to people that own brands or different businesses, and we kind of think it's easy, right? Like we see Mathapelo,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, no, it's just the Mathapelo kind of people that do it. I can't do it,
Yeah.
Just talk to us about like the guts that it takes, because I think it takes real
Yeah.
guts to actually, start a business, and then also to keep reinventing, just to keep like, okay,
Yeah.
this is not working, this is not
Yeah.
really my style, this is not really, what I'm into.
Yeah.
I'm doing something
Yeah.
else. Where
Yeah.
do those guts come from?
Oh man, I think the one thing that I'm very fortunate about is that I was raised by parents that were very resilient and, with a lot of patience, and were always resourceful, and we always believe that don't give up. And I think with that, I grew up with that, and I'm that type of woman that I am today because of them, because I have a don't give up spirit. I think also I'm a very edgy person. I tend to throw myself at things, and then I'm like, sink or swim, sink or swim. And, I think over the years, I was so hard on myself when things wouldn't work out. And I only came to realize that, it's okay in life to fail at things, but if you really have a strong conviction on something that this is what's meant for you, then you just basically keep doing it. And I think we focus so much on what other people think of our failures, or how we come back, that we just forget to motivate ourselves. We are ourselves our most biggest motivator. So I always tell people that, there's billions of people in the world, and we all, like half of those people probably have the same concept as you. They've tried the same concept as you and probably excelled at it, or they've dismally failed at it. But then if you keep focusing on so many people, that you end up forgetting about your own goal. I think the main focus, you need to focus on, your goal, like getting to where you think it'll make you happy, having a bigger thing, and you keep working on it and working on it. You look at doctors that spend 6, 7, 8 years, up to 10 years in school to specialize. That's a lot. That's a lot of years. Imagine if they gave up on the first year because it was so hard. We wouldn't have doctors. Yeah.
So I absolutely love your framing about you actually applied for the job of CEO. I've never heard that before. I literally have never heard that before. Just talk to us about that concept. Why do you, frame it as I've applied, as opposed to, oh, I'm just the founder. This is all my doing.
Look, being a founder, and I always say that being a founder and CEO, it's like just any other job that you would apply for. The only thing is that, you are applying to run a company. And when I started my business, I was working full time, as well as running my business. So, it was quite a struggle, in the beginning, or the first couple of years, trying to learn to be a businesswoman, at the same time trying to have a full-time job because you have bills to pay and so on. But you get to a point where you need to realize every morning when you wake up, are you still happy with the job that you are doing? Number one. And also you find that, you get so overwhelmed by both of your priorities that you're taking that you have to choose what makes you happy in the morning. So, you know, having two titles was not. So I had to go to my job and say, listen, Mathapelo, what do you want to do? And I was like, okay, I want to apply to be the founder and CEO of DMO versus what I was doing. So that's how I applied for my job. And this is my job. It's my bread and butter. It's just, yes, it is my business. But then at the end of the day, I still wake up like every other person in the morning. I go to work. I get stressed out like everyone. It's still a job that I do.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then so the brand, okay, so you've given us like sort of the history of how the brand has evolved, from style box, right up
Yeah.
to then specifically shoes, right?
Mm.
So one would say or assume or think that okay, Mathapelo, was able to then reinvent her business and really just hone into that one specific thing that
Yeah.
now your focus is now on shoes. um
Yeah.
would you and I'm playing the devil's advocate here, right? Would you is that something that you would do, like, goodness, I'm trying to find a way how to frame this
I think I
question.
think I think I
So
think say it as it is.
side as is, right? Okay, so like, isn't it limiting to then just have just a brand focused on shoes, or is that really where it's at? And I'll tell you why I'm asking, right? I
Mm.
look at, there's guys that are, there's a lot of people that are doing just amazing shoes around specifically the shoe space, right?
Yes,
And I don't
yes.
really want to mention any brand because I don't feel like they need that platform, but I feel like there's a lot of, and they're opening shops, right? In all of these like
Yeah.
malls and stuff. And I think to myself, isn't that sort of limiting if you're just literally opening up a shop on just shoes, wouldn't you want to sort of, open up, the brand or the possibility to have other things as well, shoes,
Mm.
maybe
Mm.
clothing, maybe some hats, maybe some, just other items as
Other
well.
accessories.
Do,
Yeah.
do you get what I'm saying? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I definitely understand what you're saying, and it's a very good question. You know, most of the time we always want to do a lot of things at the same time. And as an entrepreneur, you need to sometimes realize that you need to focus on one thing. You need to find your niche, your space where you get all your consumers, because sometimes trying to sell to everyone does not really work in the business field. And also it goes back to passion as well. If you're not passionate about what you're selling or the service that you're providing as well, you will not see your business flourish. So in me going in the footwear space, that is where I found my passion, number one. That is where I found that my niche is there, my consumer is there, the consumer that loves my product is there. Because if I had to try sell bikinis and shoes and accessories and sunglasses, I'm going to basically lose vision of what I want to really bring out of my brand. However, even though I'm particularly selling shoes now, does it mean my brand is limited to shoes? No, absolutely. Maybe in the future I might just be, want to add something else. I'm not going to tell any secrets right now, but there might be other accessories. It's just that maybe I'm focusing niche by niche. I'm building the brand and the consumers. And also remember, once you focus on a certain brand, how your business grows is also determined by what your consumer wants. So if we are selling shoes and we start getting inquiries, I mean, we do researches of what our consumers want. But then if you start getting consumers saying, oh my God, I love your shoes, well, I hope you guys get to do dresses next time. If my passion does allow me to make dresses and also feed what my consumer wants, then I'll probably go that route and get dresses to add on as to an accessory. Or else I find that my consumers are just very happy with me selling shoes and they just want to get uh, um, that particular product from me, then I don't need to add shoes. And also, in business you need to focus and master the skill of one thing at a time. So my skill is that I want to be able to design fabulous shoes for women. And a lot of people ask me, why don't you make shoes for men? I don't have a particular interest in shoes for men. I don't have a particular interest or skill or knowledge in fashion, footwear fashion for men. So I don't do that because I know if I had to produce that product, I'm not gonna produce it at the best of my ability. I'm not gonna, give them the best of that product. So rather I sell to a consumer that is just like me, or that is aspiring like me to be like me, or where I see I can listen to other women's problems, say, okay, we like this shoe, but we don't like this about the shoe. So that's where my current focus. But then, with that also being said, I realized when I was building my brand, and one of the values or keys that we had was that I wanted to be a highly collaborative brand. And what that means is, yes, I would like to own the footwear space in South Africa and hopefully globally, or in Africa, in terms of women's shoes. I'm not trying to be any other. I'm not trying to be like my counterparts, which are doing excellently well. But I want to be, me. I want to build a brand that is, women can associate with. But then I also want to be a highly collaborative brand. And what that means is that, the industry in fashion is very vast for women. It goes from accessories of earrings, hairstyle, shoes, dresses. And most of the time, whichever woman buys a handbag, they most likely buy a pair of shoes. Or if they buy a dress, they'll buy a pair of shoes. So why not focus on what I'm doing on, but be able to collaborate with other brands, other women, businesswomen who are doing other businesses, because I think the space is big. There's a lot that the pie is big for everyone. So we can definitely do that. You don't have to do everything. Rather, start off small, focus on something that you really love, and that you'll have a genuine interest in every morning, and you're working over and over. And even if you have mistakes in it, you're still trying to master it instead of being a scatterbrain. And, it took me a couple of tries before I got where I was.
Wow, so that's so well put. Yeah, no, I think you're giving me no, it is quite, I mean, and it makes so much sense. I think that's the beauty
Yeah.
of everything that you just said. So now when we come to, like, having a fashion foot brand, like, do people just wake up and like have like a foot brand? I know obviously there's a journey, there's a story, but it
Yeah.
almost seems like, there are factories and factories, or there are, I don't know, it's like, it's like, gosh, I don't want to downplay, obviously the work that you put into your
Yeah.
brand, and obviously sourcing materials and putting the
Yeah.
final product together.
Yeah.
But I almost it almost, like, you guys almost make it look easy.
Oh man, my God. Oh my God, half of the time, sure. It's like I think I run around, and me and my team, we run around with fire extinguishers. It's not the easiest. And, number one, especially if we are South African women, and my team is an all-girl team, by the way. And, if we are building this brand that we want it to be able to, compete with international standards, it takes a lot. I mean, half of the time I've heard a lot of people come to me, and they're like, they were so surprised that there's a black woman behind this French, named
Yeah.
brand. And then they're like, she's from the East End, she's South African. Oh, what? This is not the girl, I love you. But because I had a bigger vision that this is how I want my brand to be seen out there. I want someone to look at my brand and not be sure, like, is it South African? Where is it from? Oh my God, it's, we can compete within international standards, because our consumers always believe that international brands are much better than South African. They don't believe in South African brands, So for me, my vision was like, what? I want a brand where I can still be South African, but then people can still, like, you never know where it came from, but it's like, oh wow, you're proud. It's like, okay, it's a black woman running this brand. And running a brand like this, it is crazy. And funny enough, we are still a very small brand, because a lot of the times people think that we have big offices somewhere, and we're still working our way there. I mean, this business is basically run from a 1-bedroom apartment. There's like a little small like computer desk office, and my team is a lot of remotely. I mean, the social media manager, our business assistant, project manager, PR manager, everyone is working separately, of course, because of COVID as well. But other than that, no one sleeps. And I think I've been quite blessed that the women that I work with, they work alongside me. They are my teammates. They're not people that work for me, and they have the same vision that I have, and that's why we are all able to pull our weight when it comes to working. And also, when one of our teammates is weak, we tend to try to strengthen the link instead of like drop the ball. So running it is quite crazy, running a big brand. I mean, if I to give you an example of what really happens, you have to design the shoes, get them sketched, and then you still need to go order a prototype, send it to the manufacturer, get the prototype, decline the prototype, approve the prototype. Then you go into major production, and then when that comes back, the shoes that are produced need to be shipped to you. And I oversee a lot of the creative side of the business because I'm very pedantic. So for me, it's more of, like, I want to know the packaging. I want to make sure that the packaging is well done, is well put together. I want to make sure that from every step, from the unboxing experience for the consumer, to the product itself, the quality of the product, the enjoyment, because it also boils back to the definition of my brand, which means I love love. And that comes from, I believe everything that I do that flourishes, comes from me loving what I'm doing. When I design that shoe or produce that shoe, I'm doing it with love. I'm producing a shoe I would love to wear on my feet. And I always love feedback when people look at my products and they go, oh my God, I just fell in love, because that's what I want. That's what I want my consumer to feel. So running a business is super crazy, even though it's still a small business, but every day there's a challenge in something. Everyone has to be the Jill of all trades. We all wear different hats in this little company of ours.
And what do you think is so, just in terms of like importance, right?
Yes.
What in your opinion is more important? Building a really, solid, good brand, versus, like the whole customer experience, the whole, like you're speaking of unboxing, and, just customers being happy. So is it the brand, or is it the audience, is what I'm kind of trying to.
Shoot, that is a very close one, because both of them are very important. However, building a customer service that is so solid and impressing your consumer, I would think, would go above all else, because your consumer is who built your brand. We here at our brand, we might build the aesthetic of the business, of like, okay, we wanted this, wanted like that, this is the colors that we're going for. However, at the end of the day, we are not the ones buying the product. The consumer is the one that's buying the product. And when the consumer buys the product, or the feedback that you get from the consumer, that's what you use as your brand building. Because, for instance, it might be small things like, maybe your consumer might buy shoes and say, oh my God, your packaging is horrible. Like, it does not protect the shoes at all. Or you might say, the consumer might say, oh, this is horrible. I can't read the label of your brand. Like, it's so tiny, or the colors that you're using are so bad, or they're not evoking some sort of emotion that I want them to evoke. And for us, building a brand, it came out to that, because also, I had spoken to you earlier on that the brand evolved. It was Master Box, and every time it evolved, I learned something new, because in the beginning, I was just like, okay, pink boxes, that's it, it's my style box, and we just send it off. But then there was such a there was such a disconnection between what my vision of what luxury meant to me and what I was giving the consumer. I was not getting the consumer that I wanted to buy my brand or to believe in my brand. And I had to sit down. And a lot of people, when we build, I get questions like, oh my God, what is the recipe to build a good brand? You know, can I just want my brand to be like yours? And it's little things. And I never went to school up for those things. I literally learned these through YouTube videos, you know, friends who have degrees and have gone to school, you know, about it. And they would teach me like, oh no, this is what branding is. And you start going on Google, was like my best friend, and it's still my best friend, where, you know, when choosing the colors, we choose colors according of the brand, according to the emotion that we are trying to like awake in our client and consumer. You don't just have a pink logo, it's pink, it's nice, you know. You have you choose a certain color because when your consumer looks at that color, it awakens some certain emotion in them, and that's the consumer that you want. So I would, you know, going back to your question, is definitely the customer service of, you know, pleasing your customer, making sure that they're happy, and making sure that you're consistently getting feedback from them is the most important, you know, it's the most important thing, because that's the thing that actually builds your brand, you know, more than anything else, and which directs where your consumer wants to go. Because at the end of the day, so your brand grows because of your consumers, not because of yourself. I'm not the one that's going to buy all my shoes, you know, and say, hey, you know, I've made my first million. Here are the shoes, you know, because I bought them myself.
Yeah, yeah. Solid. Love that.
Yeah.
And then in terms of just, you know, the startup stages, you know, the really like early days, the first year, yeah, I love to talk about that, because I think that's where, you know, obviously, you know, according to statistics, most businesses fail within the first 5 years, you know, obviously for good reason, you know, different
Yeah.
reasons, but, you know, businesses
Yeah.
literally fall flat on their faces.
Yeah.
You know, what are some of those key things that you're like, okay, in the first, you know, sort of 18 months of your business, this is where
Yeah.
your focus should be. This is what you should be looking at. This is really important that you invest time or resources or money, or you know, in what are those things? Whether it's, you know, sort of, I don't know, personnel, I don't know if it's people, or if it's,
Oh,
you know, really building a strong product, a presence.
there, you know what? Every business, I think it doesn't matter what product you're selling or a service that you're providing. With the entrepreneur journey, you will experience the same, you know, the same struggles, in business. And you know, we still haven't reached our 5 year mark. We are still also walking around with fire extinguishers and trying to put out fires. And you know, we are still, I would say, considered still a small startup company. And you know, there are many challenges. I mean, and I think as your business grows slowly, you move from one challenge to another. You know, when I, like, for instance, when I first had the concept of like, okay, this is what I want to do, I want to sell shoes, the first challenge I had is like, oh man, how do I finance these shoes? Like, I want a bigger thing and a bigger business. And half of the time, as people, we tend to see at the bigger vision and forget, like, wait, to start this brand, how do I scale it that is so small? Like, I started from one shoe, instead of saying to myself, oh my god, I want to have a big factory that makes shoes. Oh my god, let me try finding funding somewhere. You know, we are always so impatient with the process that we need to follow in our businesses. So I mean, when we started, for me, it was like, how do I become, first of all, it was the challenge of funding. Okay, but then that's the one aspect. The other aspect is like, how do I then train myself to be a resourceful, you know, businesswoman? Because to be in business, you have to be resourceful. Where are you going to get your money? Once you get your money, how are you going to spend your money? What if that money is depleted? And what, like, for instance, now we are in a stage whereby is our challenges is we have just relaunched, and our prices are not so easily accessible because of the effort that's put into our product. So now we have to deal with, oh man, okay, how do we, you know, work our operational expenses every month? You know, there's money coming, but it's not coming in at the fast pace that we wanted. How do we then become innovative, that we are advertising, we are marketing to the right product? How are we convincing our consumers to purchase our products? So each like entrepreneurial journey is challenging. I mean, before now, after I started the business, my challenges that I had was like, okay, how do I run a business at the same time? How do I work a job? That was one of the reasons, yeah, that I had as a challenge as well. And I had to come to a space where I was like, okay, are you gonna be juggling both of these and struggling, and one of them is just gonna suffer, or do you just choose what makes you happy in the morning and go with that? Then I was like, you know what, I'm running this business full time. And then we went through a space of, now we're going through the rebranding. From having to do research, again, goes back to being resourceful. I mean, there's also ups and downs of, today it's great, tomorrow you're just like in a dip where you just don't want to wake up, when you feel that, oh my God, there's a whole mistake that I did. I don't want to do this anymore. Trying to convince your consumer, that your product or your service offering is the best. It's also a challenge. And then I went through a challenge where, I don't know how many, I would say, I wouldn't say employees, but partners that I worked with, that I had to divorce, because you want to get someone to do your website, they don't do it the way you want it, or they just don't do it, like they just don't care about your vision or what you want. And having to be where I am now, where I have the best possible team that has our best interest in the business, because they know where we want to go. So also we went through the HR side of things, the marketing, the community. So there's always a challenge, but every challenge comes with every time the business grows. So our challenge right now is not HR anymore. It's not funding for the business. Now my challenge now is like, okay, I've got so and so stock which costs X amount. We need to get the stock out of the warehouse, because that's just money sitting there. Why is it sitting there? That's the one challenge. How do we get it out there for people to buy? Okay, great. We have an online Instagram followers, but then people don't need to buy. People can just pay you with a like and say, oh, this is nice. Okay, but now you still have that box of shoes sitting there, and you're in the business of making money. So our challenge is like, okay, great, fine. Here the shoes are selling, but then as well, you've got an operating team that looks after the team. They've got families to feed. You need to get them paid. So, you still have to have internet to run your business, make sure the phone, and also, other than that, there's things like consumers. Sometimes you send out a pair of shoes, and consumer says, oh no, it's a small size, or I don't really like the shoe. Now it's a return. So there's many challenges that you face in the entrepreneur space, but it's normal. And I think a lot of people tend to quit very fast. Like the first sign of smoke, instead of running with a fire extinguisher, they're just like, out, and leave it hanging there. So it's normal. And so many times I've beaten myself to say, oh, I've done a mistake, and there's going to be many more, challenges to come. Maybe one day when we are like a bigger business than we are currently right now, there's going to be other challenges that we're not facing now that I'm going to have to worry about, or the team has to worry about.
Yeah. Talk to us about that process then, that you obviously say, you're busy with fire extinguishers all the time. That process of like, okay, I'm dealing with this, but I'm just gonna, get my fire extinguisher, get this fire off, and still continue. How do you build that resilience, that I'll keep trying, I'll keep doing it, I'll keep, making it better? How do we build that resistance? Or resilience, rather.
Yeah, having that resilience, I think you build it over time, and especially, as I said, if you learn from the get-go, don't give up at the first sign of smoke. If something happens, you need to be able to think on your feet. And with that being said, I'm not Superwoman, whereby I'm like, okay, something goes back, I'm like, I'm here, everything is fine. It's not normal. We're all humans, and quite frankly, I'm always open to people in interviews as well that unfortunately for me, I have mental health issues, and I'm quite a depressive person. And there have been times where I've fallen through the cracks, whereby having to wake up in the morning and go run this business. So I've Jesus, I've just been like, you know what, maybe it's a whole mistake. I don't want to do it. I think I had a meltdown like 3-4 weeks ago. But because I'm so cushioned by good support, and this good support comes from my teammates, comes from my family, comes from my close friends who know me, when the chips are really low, they are the ones who are able to pick me up or fill in the gaps. So every day is always something new that's happening. There's always something. But I think I've mastered the skill of trying to motivate myself. And one of the things I've learned from my father is that, nothing stays the same forever. And I think a lot of people don't understand. We are never destined to be in a bad situation for the rest of your life. It might take you a month, a week, a day, an hour, a couple of years to get out of a certain situation for you to be in a better one. I mean, you look at the likes of our former President Nelson Mandela, who's been like 27 years in prison. Now imagine if he was like, you know what, that's it, after year one, kaput, I'm not going to run. I'm not going to run. We wouldn't have the president that we had, So everything, you're never destined to live or wallow in hard times in a business. You have to be able to motivate yourself. And that's the most important thing. You need to be able to motivate. If you can't motivate yourself in the morning, geez, how do you expect other people to motivate you? If you're gonna just cry at the first sign of smoke. And some people say that I'm very cutthroat with that by saying that, but I've had to learn that the hard way.
Yeah. What has
Yeah.
your experience been like just working with other women? I'm obviously going to be a little bit controversial here. Well, it's not even controversial. It's just like, women, we're all got our things going. I mean,
Yeah.
are you finding that women actually support your vision? Women are, you know, behind you. What has your experience been like, with just having women in your corner when you're building a
Yeah.
business?
Well, I won't lie. I think the women that are in my life that I'm working with, funny enough, I would say God sent them to me. I didn't go looking for them. Like, they just were women that just fitted so well like a puzzle. And in the beginning, it is scary because, you are right being saying to be controversial, because most of the time we always feel that women in a group, we're always fighting, or we are pulling each other down, or we are just not trying to see, one another succeed, And I think I'm quite blessed in a manner that I feed off vibes of people. I have people who have the same vision as me. And one of the things, when they started joining me one by one, I mean, they didn't join all at the same time. It was like, oh, something would come up and I would, be running around like a headless chicken because I can't do it. And then someone would just miraculously like, hey, girl, I love your brand. I would like to work with you, blah, blah, blah. And then obviously they've joined, and then they're like, okay, great. It's a great relationship. But for me, I think one of the key, values that I have with my team, of ladies, was number one, we are not all in a competition. Okay, we all want the same vision. We want the business to be bigger than me. This is not about Mathapelo. This is about Jedoti. And it's normal for people to fight in a business. I mean, in terms of in work, like just work politics do happen because people get stressed out and someone maybe will step on someone's toes. It's okay as long as it's very known that it's not personal. It's about the business, but also there needs to be a level of respect for all of us, amongst us. We need to respect. And for me, one of the things as well, I think, which has kept my team strong, is that I've always felt that people don't work for me, they work with me. They are my teammates. I think once you start trying to boss people around, or you are trying to put a really tight leash and really super micromanage people, it really doesn't work, because now you're killing the spirit of what you're trying to build with the team. And I think for me as well was giving my team the freedom of creativity, for them to have space to run their own departments the way they would. Yes, I do oversee some things, and there's certain things I'm like, oh, I don't like this, but I say it's not what is said, it's how it's said. And as long as the vision is, we are all aligned to the same vision of where we are going, and there's plenty of respect, and we are really embracing the sisterhood that we have, I see that we'll go a very long way. And till this very day, we've done very well. And I would say I'm very, very blessed that the team that I have is that we never let each other fall. So if there's always someone that's not doing so well, it could be me. I could wake up to them not doing so well in terms of like work. They'll always be there. Someone will ask me like, hey, Ushapo, are you okay? How's doing? And they'll pick me up, dust me off, and let's get back on the wagon. Let's go. We are all a team. No one gets left behind. With my team, we try to understand. And I have a very colorful team. I have, a team. There's women that are married, that have kids. We try to respect where they, their family lives. And we have, I've got a very diverse team, and I'm very proud of my team. And these are women that I know that I would not want to lose or give away. I think I would fight tooth and nail if someone tried to poach them. But, this is women. And I think what I love is that the women that I work with, it's women that have their own strengths. We don't have any age restrictions about like the women that work us. We're not judging each other like, oh yeah, no, this one has so much experience, so it's better than this one, because we're all learning from each other. And I love that I've always had this open policy that we share. We're in a spirit of sharing. If we're doing one thing and then the other one is like, oh no, actually I know, like, I'm in admin, but I was thinking we can do this for this campaign. We share ideas. There's, as much as we all control our own departments or what we do, we share ideas, because it brings no harm. So I always say with entrepreneurs, if you start looking for people to work with, try to create a team where people work alongside you. And that's why you see great brands work, because we give people room to be creative. We give people room to master their own skill. So yeah, so my team, I would say I've got an A class team.
A class. That's amazing. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And then
and I always say I always say teamwork makes the dream work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally agree on that one.
Yeah.
And now, Mathapelo, you spoke of like partnerships. You obviously have like a luxury shoe brand, and you work with other brands as well that complement your business and the brand that you are building. How do we what's this thing? How do we like pitch partnerships, or how do we get people to on board to do, like, whether it's campaigns together or it's cross marketing, whatever it is? How do we sort of pitch? Because I mean, I'm absolutely I'm of that school of thought. We definitely can complement each other. We definitely can work together with different brands, especially if we're in a similar or fields that complement our brand, right? But how do we kind of then cultivate that? How do we pitch? How do you show somebody that, hey, I've got this brand, we can work together, that type of thing? What's the best way to go about building those partnerships?
Oh man, you know what? I wouldn't say there's like a particular way, because I always believe that putting yourself out there, either by sending an email to someone who owns a brand, or maybe it could just be at a networking event where you just have a conversation like, oh no, Mathapelo, I want you branded in. Oh my God, I'm Gugu, I own dresses. Like, oh my God. And sometimes that concept might not happen right there and there, but exchanging numbers to say, hey, maybe we might work together in the future. But I think for me, I've always said to people, if I do join partnerships, I always make people aware that we are not competing. Yes, we are in the same fashion sense, but then it's more of sharing and building each other as brands, and also being kind of like very innovative on how we do campaigns together. You know, I always say, for instance, I mean, if I were to partner up with a dress, you know, someone who makes dresses, it'll be like, okay, listen, I've got my followership, you have your followership, maybe let's do like a competition campaign, or let's design a shoe and a dress that matches together with the same fabric designs or whatever. And you know, we can share in the same market of consumers, because you might find there's a Mathapelo who's online in her shopping cart, she adds shoes and she goes, whoa, that dress is also nice, let me just add it into my cart. So it's a win-win situation. You've sold a dress, I've sold a shoe to one consumer. And I think most of the time people don't get the concept, because we're always so feisty in business, like hi, I've got my own people, I'm trying to sell, she's trying to enter into my own space. And I'm hoping as my brand grows, you know, I really get, and that's why my key values is being highly collaborative, because I want to collaborate with any other business. You know, it doesn't have to be just like a woman-owned business, can be businesses owned by a man. But you know, that kind of journey, I hope we get to grow in the future, and could be collaborations with an individual or with a particular brand. You know, going across, I think you must always try to, when you're trying to get someone to buy into what your brand and collaborating, you need to make them understand that we're not competing, we are just expanding or cross-pollinating our consumers, so we get a better, you know, we get a better, how can I say, a better sales strategy for each other. And a lot of people also ask, would I ever collaborate with another shoe brand? I hope, and I always say that I don't want to be the only woman who has a shoe brand in South Africa. I want to see other women own shoe brand companies with their own style. Yes, we are selling to the same consumer, yes, but then the very same women who also own brands like me, and they're also getting there, I want to be able to collaborate with them. And when we're saying that, it could be like a woman coming to me, is like, hi sis, you know what, I've got a shoe brand and I do this particular style of shoe brands, and I see you do that. Let's design a shoe together. Again, it goes back, we should design a shoe together. We split the profit of that particular shoe that we have designed together, and we're selling it to a consumer. You see, we've bought each other. We're not now clawing at each other to, you know, fight for consumers. And I think if we need to change the mindset of business, that we should stay away from, like, it's so competitive, we're gonna fight each other, we're gonna put each other down, we're gonna, you know, we have to be a collaborative. There's many people, there's billions and billions of consumers, guys.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. And not just in South Africa, I mean in the world. But
Yeah,
I'm curious though.
absolutely.
I'm curious where that spirit comes from, where that like openness and like sharing and like you know, you say you don't mind having another female that's basically playing in the same space as you. Where does that come from? I don't think that's
Yeah,
very common where you just like, yeah, we can all build a business, you know?
yeah, yeah. um I think this is also just, it's also like personality wise and how you've been raised. And I think from a young age, I've always been a sharing person. That's why I always say, the day I even have big corporate offices, I would not want to be enclosed in a big office where everyone is scared to me. It's like an open room, because I believe that sharing really helps to grow. It can be sharing from little things, from concept of ideas, and you know, it makes the brand much better, or the way of working much better. And you know, um and I'm very thankful for my parents that I've had, that have raised me, that motu kabatu, you know. And that's where the sharing comes. We are all raised by communities. Businesses are built by communities or consumers, you know, that share your business. They share your brand by word of mouth. So if you really think about the entrepreneurial journey and your brand growing, it doesn't grow. You don't grow it on your own as Mathapelo. You're growing it because your consumers are sharing reviews about you. They are sharing you know, information. They're sharing your brand. They're letting other people know. So for me, I've always said that I've always wanted to build my brand to have a higher purpose, and my brand is built on my key pillars, on my personality. My personality needs to resonate in my brand. People need to see that through my brand. You know, and most of the time I get asked by a lot of people like, oh, would you share like information on how you started your business? And because I love sharing, I'm gonna start a YouTube channel where I share information. And you know, also at the same time, with that said in light, I am still a businesswoman, and you know, sometimes I've had people ask me like, oh, I see you run a shoe brand. I've always wanted to start a shoe brand. Can you share your contact details of where you manufacture your shoes? Yes, I would love to share my information where I manufacture my shoes, but because I'm a business, I'm not going to give you the exact information, be like, yeah, because now we are using the same manufacturer, we are producing the same goods and stuff like that. I believe holistically that people need to follow the same steps that I followed. I'll give you the steps to follow, but I'm not going to feed you with a silver spoon to be like, here you go, here's the content, because I've taken years to find this information. I'll give you the steps like, listen, I went here. So you need to do 1, 2, 3, and that I'm sharing with you like the steps that I followed. I'm sharing with you the mistakes that I've made, the triumphs that I've made. But it doesn't mean as a businesswoman, I'm also trying to make a profit. I'm trying to grow a brand. I'm trying to, also feed myself, but I'm not going to give you everything directly, because I want you to understand also the concept of being a resourceful businesswoman or businessman, or wanting to start that. It takes hard work to get where you want to go.
Yeah. Mathapelo, it's been such a pleasure. You've been such a breath of fresh air. Like I'm telling you, I honestly think that my guests get better every single week. Like, and it's so no, I'm not just saying this, and I feel like I always say it. But it's like everything that you said resonates with me so much, just from the building, the resourcefulness, the positive, the sharing, the spirit that you have, just everything, and building a team around you. Everything just resonates with me so much. And you've been such a pleasure. I'm going to ask you sort of like my final question, because I have to respect your time as well.
No, that's fine.
But before that, I know, me too, right? I just want to acknowledge you as just like a businesswoman, that's just like taking a decision to, go for it despite all the odds, go for it despite, all the challenges, having to evolve yourself so many times and still continuing to learn and to grow. I think it's so important that we get exposed to these kind of people, because we can't, it's nice to see people when they are in their big offices and they're super successful and they in corporate and they're occupying these big spaces and paying these big bills. But it's so important also just to learn, even along the journey, from people like you that have so much knowledge to share as well. I think there's so much value in just having this conversation. And I hope it really just resonates with everybody like it is with me as well. I am a businesswoman myself, and I only hope that people can grab this information and run with it. But tell us where people can find you, where, how people can get hold of you, how they can support you if they want to buy your shoes and all of that good stuff.
Okay, so our shoes can be purchased on our website, which is www.jedotiamo.com. So it's an e-commerce website where people can purchase, and we deliver straight to their houses. And then some of our consumers always want to have a look and feel of our shoes and see them. They are more than welcome to. Actually, our shoes are available at House of Nala, which is a concept store by AFI, and at the Leonard Hotel in Sandton City. So if they want to go there to see our products, they can definitely visit there. And also they'll be able to purchase as well, according to the stock that's available to that particular store. Other than that, people are welcome to contact me through my personal page, which is I am Mathapelo, where they're watching now, as well as they can go to our Instagram page and all our social media pages, which are at Jeto Diamo. So yeah, and also on our website, we have a WhatsApp line where you can pop us a quick message if you have any questions, or if you're looking for us to send you a catalog, which we do. Also, a catalog is available at catalog is available on our Instagram page as well as our website as well. So yeah, there's plenty of information where you can get our shoes.
Yeah. Okay, so my sort of two final questions. What is next for you? And what is the legacy that you want to leave behind?
Oh man, hey, that's like a very good question. So, currently now with the business is growing it to be getting the brand out there, getting people to know about the brand. And also there's other things that are underway for the brand that we are busy with, which I would not like to tell at the moment because I want it to be a surprise. But, in the future, I'm hoping that I build a brand which is bigger than me, which is a brand that other women can associate with. We hope that one day we will have, concept. We could have a concept store where people can come and visit us, and we get to expand outside of our country, internationally. We want it to be a brand that can compete within international standards. So yeah, just keep on the space of our social media pages and our website to see what's coming soon. But just a hint, maybe we might just expand to something. That's what I want to say. To something. We might just expand to something. So yeah, that's that.
Yeah.
But our role in terms of my legacy, the legacy of my business is just to have a brand that is bigger than me, that even if tomorrow I'm not around, the brand name is still there. There's still people who are running this vision. We also want to be global brands, just how your Chanel's and your Louis Vuittons have made it globally. What's stopping us, the South African brand, also ending up to be a global brand. And we look up to brands like Bumakosa, which are doing exceptionally well, and we also aspire to be quite as great as them, and we are as great as them as well. So yeah, definitely that is that. But also the most important thing that I'm very passionate about is that we have a CSR mission, and I hope that grows as well, because with our CSR mission is that for each pair of Jeto Diamo shoes purchased, we donate a pair of school shoes to a disadvantaged child. And I hope that my consumers do know that, and they know the message with each purchase that they make, that they're walking a journey with a little one that is in need of school shoes. And we always believe that no child should walk barefooted to school. So I hope that mission really grows with our business, and we get to partner up with other brands to join on to that mission. And our kids are the future, and they shouldn't have hardships when going to school, particularly in the privileged, in the village areas as well, or rural areas.
Whew, Mathapelo, you have been such a breath of fresh air.
Thank
Thank you
you
so much for honoring this time and this appointment. I really do appreciate it. I don't take anything for granted.
Oh no, I appreciate the invite.
Thank you. And just I wish you nothing but the best.
Thank
More
you so
grease to
much.
your elbows, more success. We're gonna keenly keep, an eye on your pages, and just see what's happening next. But obviously you heard it here, guys. First, Jador de Amor is expanding. So make sure you follow their page, follow I am Mathapelo. on all
Yes.
social media platforms.
Yeah.
And yeah, if anybody is interested in actually catching this conversation, if you were late or, for whatever reason didn't see the full interview, I will be posting it up on our YouTube channel so people can just go ahead and just watch the
Whoop,
whole
whoop.
interview again.
Yeah. Yeah.
But thank you so much. This has been
You're most
amazing.
welcome. I appreciate the interview. It was lovely talking to you. And I'm hoping that you'll invite me again. Okay. Once we've reached another milestone, I hope to be back again.
Of course, definitely. We have to do another one.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. And I hope you have a great evening. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, see you soon. Hey.
Yeah. Thank you, Mathapelo. Thank you so much.
All right. Okay, darling. Bye
Salute.
bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
Woo, Mathapelo Pitse, everybody, from Jador de Amor. It's been such an amazing conversation, and the time literally flies by me when I have these conversations. So I'm so glad that, we're able to bring you guys yet an amazing guest, yet another conversation, just to help you go, even if it's just that little further in your business. Mathapelo builds the most beautiful shoes. It's a luxury brand. It's opulent. It's elegance. It's really just a brand for us as women, especially to aspire to. So make sure that you follow I am Mathapelo on Instagram and across all social media platforms, as well as her brand, Jador de Amor, which is then the shoe brand that she is, or the footwear brand that she is building. But thank you so much, guys. Keep the conversation going. If you think there's anybody that can benefit from this conversation, share this with them. Share the information. Let's all just be empowered. Let's all, have the resources that we need to build our businesses. But those of you guys that don't know who I am, I'm Mathapelos, and I'm a business builder. I speak, I teach, I train. I'm a recent broadcaster these days. It's been an absolutely amazing journey. And so if you want to follow up my personal page, you're welcome to do so. I am at Gina_Cherry on all social media platforms. Obviously that's where I share some of my personal stuff. So you guys will get an insight into my life. But if everybody that's interested, you can do so. But what's important is to keep following Small Business Runway, because this is really the platform and the voice for small business owners. Not only do we bring you, amazing guests that you can aspire and learn from, but we also bring you amazing conversations. We bring you amazing networking events. We bring you really just a holistic, business growth journey. So, Small Business Runway, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. From me to you, it's nothing but love. I will see you guys next week, Monday, with another guest, another entrepreneur. For now, salute.